see everybody. Thanks so much. It's great to be back in Grady Judd country, Polk County. You know, I was talking to some folks, and I've had a lot. You know, we did the temporary I-4 expansion like 8 months early, and people, it's helping, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about that. It's I-4, Polk, Osceola, Orlando area. I mean, it can be bad, but when all the stuff's done, I think the everything we've done in I-4 so far that's completed is good. But man, this part is it can be tough when you have to be on those roads. So I'm really glad we're able to do that. We're joined here today by our Commissioner of Education, Manny Diaz, of course, as I mentioned, our great sheriff from Polk County, Grady Judd. We also have Ryan Petty, who's on our State Board of Education. We have Senators Blaise Ingoglia, Tom Wright, and Colleen Burton. And Florida House Representatives Bill Partington and John Albert. So I want to thank everybody for attending, and we've got some great bills to sign today. One is continuing with our commitment to school safety and student safety, and I think most people remember in 2018 we had the tragedy at Parkland down in Broward County. After that, I wasn't governor yet, but after that, there was a movement to say, okay, you know, what went wrong on school security? There was also things, quite frankly, that went wrong with the law enforcement. That's why I removed the sheriff of Broward when I became governor back in 2019, because there was no accountability for the failure. You got to have accountability. So we did that, but then we really got to work on doing whatever we could at our disposal that would work to increase school security, and I think Florida's done more than any state in the country over these last 6 years. So Ryan tragically lost his daughter in that attack, and other parents from Parkland really got involved in this school security and school safety effort, and it's had a huge positive impact across the state of Florida. We know a lot of the things that have been done. One of the things that I know Grady's been supportive of is the Guardian program. And the Guardian program, you know, people say, oh, well, you shouldn't have teachers be with wearing guns. First of all, the Guardian program is voluntary. No one has to have Guardian. I mean, but if you can. But I'll tell you this, if you're a school that has Guardian, that's going to be a disincentive for someone to want to target your school. They go to where there's soft targets. They go to where they're not going to get resistance. So whether it's having school resource officers, whether it's supporting the Guardian program, these are ways, yeah, obviously if it ever came to something really terrible, you want to have some folks there that are going to fight for the good guys, but I think the biggest thing is it deters it from happening. These guys want to go to gun-free zones where they know that there's not going to be any major resistance. And so I think Guardian is good. I think it increases safety, but I also think it really changes the calculus of some of these guys in terms of what they're doing. So we've worked hard on that. We've also worked hard by creating Fortify Florida, a mobile suspicious activity reporting tool that allows schools to obtain reports about suspicious activity. Unfortunately, we see that from time to time in a variety of contexts. And one of the things that really stuck out for me with Parkland is after Parkland what happened, immediately before any reports on who did it, everyone in that community knew it was this guy, because that's who they suspected, because he had so many red flags and no one wanted to do anything about it. That's not the way we want to do things here in the state of Florida. And as part of that, to address threats when you see them, Florida has implemented the Florida Harm Prevention Management Model. This is a threat management system that identifies and immediately responds to students who may pose a risk to themselves or to others. And when you look at some of these people that have done horrible things, usually there were warning signs. Usually there were red flags. And if you have an intervention, that could obviate, that could totally prevent something from happening in the future. And so I appreciate people that have done that. There have been more than 30,000 school personnel that have been trained in this innovative system across the entire state of Florida. One of the things that we also have to come to grips with, and I know a lot of people in Florida have been working hard on this, is problems with students who lead to problems and risk to safety. Oftentimes there's a mental health component to that. Usually someone just well-adjusted, they're not all of a sudden going to go up and pose a major risk to their fellow students or to the teachers or the administrators. And so since I've been in office, we've invested $2.5 billion in mental health support for schools. We've also created a new requirement for mental health services and training, including at least 80% of all school personnel complete youth mental health awareness and assistance training. And this includes, in terms of the money, record amounts that we've invested across schools throughout Florida, as well as things like school hardening, which we've done, which has been something that's really important. It goes to making these things uninviting targets. So there's been a whole host of things that we've done through the years. I think the legislature's been very generous in providing support for the school districts in this. And so that kind of brings us here today for this first bill, which is on school safety. This bill expands upon the Guardian program to authorize child care facilities to utilize guardians, just like our public schools and private schools do. Child care facilities may now partner with local sheriff office to have teachers and other personnel properly trained with firearms and other school safety measures to protect students in the event of an emergency. And I think that's going to be something that people are going to like. We had previously, in prior legislation, did legislation that had all doors and gates in a school needed to be locked at all times. And while that was well intended, schools pointed out, hey, there may be some problems about moving around. Can you do so? I think what the legislature did is they tweaked this. They made sure that, yes, we want to be able to create locks to keep bad guys out, but we also want it to be practical. We want to make sure people are able to do their daily tasks and get to where they need to go. So that was a requested change, and one I think that will likely be very, very effective. So we are continuing to advance the ball there with school security. Now, one area that we've also led on, in addition to school safety, is on the issue of swatting. So swatting is when people will call in a bogus 911 call to usually somebody's residence. They will lodge a complaint of people's lives being in jeopardy, that they're being dangerous. A lot of times they'll say there's weapons. And so that, if you got a legitimate call on that, the Grady's people would go and they would try to secure that area and prevent the harm to anybody. But in this case, there's nothing there. There are people there that are innocent. Law enforcement doesn't know that. They think it's a serious call, so they're going with that in mind. You get woken up or something and react, and someone's breaking into your house for no reason. You don't know that it's police. You could then do something. So it creates a really, really serious risk for public safety. It creates a risk of life and limb. And we have had instances where people have been killed across the country because of these swatting instances. Now, we led the effort in Florida in 2021 to combat swatting. I signed a bill that established felonies for swatting offenses that lead to damage, injury, or death. And we also required restitution to be paid by swatting perpetrators. And while that has been helpful, it has not been fully sufficient. We continue to see these swatting activities happen across the country and even in the state of Florida. Recently, they have targeted people that are influential in conservative media. We had a fella in Tampa named Benny Johnson that was the target of a swatting incident. Someone called the police and made a fake report, and law enforcement did basically a raid on his home as a result of that point. These are not victimless crimes. One, people can get hurt by doing it, but even if nobody's hurt, it's taking resources and time and manpower away from actually doing the job that we want our law enforcement and first responders to do. So this is something that needs to be addressed to the fullest extent of the law. The bill I'm signing today will increase penalties for people that are making these bogus police reports. If you SWAT, you are going to get hit with serious criminal offenses. This has enhanced penalties across the board. It also has enhanced penalties for repeat offenders. It lowers the threshold were what would be considered a habitual felony offender, making it a felony after 2 or more convictions for unauthorized use of emergency communication services. The bill also includes a definition of conviction, which includes determinations of guilt resulting from a plea agreement or trial, regardless of whether adjudication is withheld or a no contest plea is entered. It also mandates that courts order restitution, not just restitution available. Courts must order restitution from convicted individuals to cover the costs incurred by public safety agencies and any victims affected by these false reports. I mean, it could be something, maybe the police breaks the door down because they're told that there's a crime in progress. You're not going to necessarily knock unless if you think someone's about to get shot. So you're going, well, okay, well, who's going to pay for that? Well, now the perpetrator is going to have to pay for that, who made the call. And restitution must include full payment of any costs incurred by the agencies, as well as prosecution and investigation. So when we prosecute you, we are also going to bill you for having to go through with that. We also have victim compensation to any victim who suffers damage or injury as an approximate result of lawful conduct arising from the emergency response. So swatting has no place in the state of Florida. And I think when you have swift penalties, strong penalties, and you administer them swiftly, you will deter it from happening in the future. And finally, we have House Bill 1099, which focuses on the arrest and detention of individuals with significant medical conditions, which is an initiative of local law enforcement that passed during this most recent legislative session. This bill supports our law enforcement officers across the state by giving them more discretion when dealing with individuals with significant medical conditions. We're a law and order state. We want to make sure we're protecting the police officers as they're doing jobs in very difficult circumstances. And so I look forward to signing these bills momentarily, but before